Greetings, friends. Today is September 11th, and today is always, for me, since 2001, a reminder of duty and honor and how desperate this world needs light and love. So everybody knows or remembers what they were doing when they heard about the planes crashing on 9/11. I was pregnant. I was getting ready to have my oldest son. And my mom was still alive, and my lawyer called me, and I called my mom, and we're in tears, and I'm feeling so helpless because I'm bringing this child into the world that is full of terrorists who would do this, right? And I remember we lit candles. I went to church. The churches were packed, full with people. There was a tremendous coming together and a great sense of national pride and wanting to bring justice for what had happened. Millions of volunteers going in to provide water to the firefighters and the EMS teams, and just so much going on. And I'm just reminded of all the lives lost, not only of the victims in the planes and the buildings, but also the people who volunteered their life to go into these buildings and died instantly. So, it's such an emotional day. And every year I've attended some kind of 9/11 celebration, memorial, not a celebration, but a memorial. And it's always so meaningful. And I had retired from playing the pipes for 20 years. I actually kind of stopped playing in grad school because I just didn't really have a lot of time to play. And bagpipes are an instrument that you really have to play all the time. Otherwise, it just, everything goes out of tune and everything goes out of whack. So I didn't really play a whole lot. And then I officially retired when I had my son because I was pregnant and I couldn't reach the chanter. And then I instantly got pregnant a second time and couldn't. I was like an elephant. I was pregnant for 2 years. So I didn't think about it. And my mom, wanted me to play again. My dad wanted me to play again. And it wasn't my season. I didn't want to play anymore because it really does take a lot of time. It's a lot of, learning tunes and playing. And I didn't want to be in a band and all that. I didn't want to do it. It wasn't my time. So fast forward a little bit, the Red Hot Chili Pipers, which is an amazing band, they created a tune called 343 The Fallen, which was written to honor the 343 first responders who died in 9/11. And they were selling the sheet music as a charity fundraiser for the families of the victims of 9/11. So I bought the music back then. I bought it, even though I had retired from piping, and I said, I bought it because it was a fundraiser, and I thought it was a very unique fundraiser, and it's a beautiful tune. And I said, well, if I ever play bagpipes again, but I'm never going to play bagpipes again, but if ever I do, I will learn this tune first. This will be the first brand new tune that I learn. So fast forward even more, we have a pandemic. I'm bored off my rocker. I'm like, Maybe I'll see if my brother can restore my pipes for me. My brother's very handy. He's very good at things like this. So I got him a bottle of Everclear, some brushes, and he brought my pipes back from the dead. They had been submerged in water in Hurricane Sandy, and I didn't know it until like 4 years later when I went to move them to Pennsylvania. Actually, 5 years, I think it was. So he resurrects my pipes, and he gives them to me. And I say, well, listen, here's the deal. I don't remember any pipe tunes, but if I can play a tune and I don't fall over and die, because I was like, a size 2 back in the day and, not a size 2 now. So I said, if I can play a tune, then I'll play again. So gave them to me, blew them up, and I played Amazing Grace, which is the only tune I could remember. And I didn't pass out. So I said, all right, I'm going to play again. And I have been playing ever since. And so I found that music. It was the only pipe tune actually I had in music because all of my piping books had been damaged in Hurricane Sandy. It's the only piece of pipe music I had. And I got it out, and I found my practice chanter, which was full of mold and had to be cleaned with Everclear, and I learned it. And it's called The Fallen, 343 The Fallen. And I have played that tune in one way or another, either on my practice chanter or on my pipes, every single day since, most days, obviously not days when I had surgery, but every day, most days, I play that tune as a reminder of a lot of things. A reminder of sacrifices that are made for us. A reminder that there are people who, the people who were on those planes, they didn't choose to die that day. None of them chose that. The people going to work, they didn't choose that. But the police officers and the firefighters, they had made a choice years before that day to be a public servant, to give their lives, if needed, in times of tragedy. And they were called on that day to do that. And it's just a tremendous reminder. Every 9/11, it's a reminder of people who willingly give up their lives for the service of others. There are a lot of pipers and drummers that were killed in 9/11. The Fire Department of New York and the New York Police Department, there are many pipe units, different little pipe bands that play for the different of their precincts or whatever. There's a lot of pipers that died that day and drummers. Additionally, Red Cross, which I volunteer for as a disaster responder and also service to armed forces, they had to bring in people from all over the country to come and serve and help the families of the victims. And in many cases, there was nobody knew what happened. I mean, even till today, some people were not recovered. And how grievous that is, and how hard that must be to not have that closure. And I think about all of the soldiers that then went to fight to find Osama bin Laden, to find the people who did this, and all the lives that were lost in war. So 9/11 is a reminder of all of those things. And you think to yourself, how in the world could God let this happen? How in the world does this kind of evil happen when we're all trying to pour out light and love? How does this darkness get in? How does the darkness of greed get in? How does the darkness of wanting to kill innocent people, where does that come from? It comes from free will. It comes from free will. This isn't the plan that God put out. God didn't say to somebody, go and do this awful thing. These are the choices that we make as humans. We are souls living a human experience. People forget that, and they think they're humans having a soul experience. But we are all connected. In the passing of Her Majesty the Queen, I've gone down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos because I'm really not allowed to walk anywhere, even though I did today to play bagpipes. And, if you're European, chances are, if you have one European ancestor, chances are you are related to royalty somewhere back in your line. Because the population was smaller. We are all connected. In some way, we are all connected. People often talk about, like, soulmates. Do you have a soulmate? Truth is, you probably have 6 or 7. It's a big world full of a lot of people, right? It's very unlikely that there's just one person who's your soulmate. We have documentation that says you're going to marry this one or partner up with that one or whatever. But your heart can love infinitely. I have been guilty and am guilty in my life of loving too much and too many. But, I'm a person who loves to love people. I'd rather love people than not. Not always been that way. I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised to be a person who shares infinite love. But I've become that person because of all the hatred in the world. And after 9/11, I became much more loving because that's the only thing that combats evil. The only thing that brings light into this world to combat darkness is for us to crack open our heart chakras and love the crap out of everything. And I try to live by that principle. It doesn't help that my heart gets broken every once in a while. Happens more than it should. But it is the risk you take when you let your heart open up to others. But I have infinite hope in humanity because people get in fire trucks voluntarily, because people become police officers voluntarily, because people sign up to go into the military voluntarily. I have hope for this world because people care enough to be servants. I'm wishing all of you the best of light and love. Be well, and I'll talk to you soon.